Hi, I am doing a book review for At the Heart of Montessori, and this is the elementary school child ages 6 to 12. Maria Montessori said, "To aid life, leaving it free to unfold itself, that is the basic task of the educator." So, some background on the book is that it is a series, and there's 6 books in it, and it's by Clare Walls. And I chose this book specifically because it deals with elementary age children, and that is the age that I am studying. So, Maria Montessori was among the first doctors in Italy that were female. And because she had this background in medicine, she was able to look at education through the lens of observation. And so she observed the children to see how they naturally were curious and learned. And then she devised her Montessori method through these observations. And all of the curiosity that the children had, that is one of her guiding principles that she really works with that. Also, the child size furniture and the mixed age classrooms are another hallmark of Montessori. For the key learning aspects for elementary education, there is the cosmic education of the universe, the classification and research, the imagination driven learning, field trips and going out, the prepared environment, math and language, and fine art in the classroom. Cosmic education is a really broad topic, and Maria Montessori has written various books dealing with this idea. And in a nutshell, the Montessori method teaches cosmic education. That means that everything is interconnected. So everything goes together. You can't teach one thing without teaching another thing. So nothing should be taught in a vacuum, and everything should always like move into the next thing. In this way, Montessori aims to use an integrated approach to curriculum. In addition, during the elementary school years, children are introduced to the cosmic stories and timeline of the universe. And Maria Montessori actually spent a lot of time talking about storytelling and how that is how people learn through stories throughout time. And those stories, the great stories, are life on Earth, humans and how they evolved, civilization, written language, and numbers. So, one aspect of Montessori is the classification and research that goes along with being in elementary school education. And there are so many Montessori materials that go along with this classification. I added the animal sorting in vertebrates versus invertebrates. And there's the leaf cabinet is also pictured. And you learn about different leaves and what trees they go to, and also like the seeds that go along with them. And then the last picture I did was continents, and it shows sorting the animals into continents, and it's one of my favorite works. I love that one. Um, so all of this is part of the classification and research that the children do, and the teacher presents material, and then the students work on it, and then they create projects, and then they have a presentation and tell the rest of the class about what they learned. So, in this way, imagination is the main guiding force behind learning when we're talking about ages 6 to 12. So, before from 0 to 6, most of the learning that the kids are doing is just going to be hands on, helping themselves like work in the environment, like, washing their hands, washing something else. Those are all things that they do in the 0 to 6 classroom. And then once they're 6 to 12, they're able to be masters of their environment. So they're ready to kind of move on, and they think through abstraction. So instead of focusing on the concrete, students can imagine the abstract, and they are guided with that imagination that inspires them when they're thinking, what if, or what's going on with this, and really diving into those questions of the universe. Students also learn how to apply knowledge in a new way. So things that they learn from 0 to 6, they're able to apply it in a new way. And all of the work that was done from 0 to 6 actually is extended, meaning it takes on a new life in 6 to 12. Students also learn about morality and what's right and wrong, and they learn about social development because they're really interested in their peers and what their peers think and how they fit into it. The next part is field trips and going out. So since they mastered their environment from 0 to 6, from 6 to 12, they're able to really explore outside of the classroom. They have a hunger for knowledge, and this is able to be satisfied by going out into the world and exploring. So these field trips in Montessori have to do with what they're learning at the time, and they try to do them as much as possible. So things that can't be contained in a classroom, like the forest floor. When they go on a field trip, they can observe what a forest floor is really like and understand it in a new way. The next aspect is the prepared environment. The prepared environment is something that is throughout all Montessori ages. And it's not only the classroom shelves, so all of the classroom shelves are arranged in a certain order, and it's practical life, sensorial, language, math, science, and geography and art. And each section has like a different shelf. So in elementary age, they have that order because they want everything out at once so that the kids can access it and they don't feel like they have to ask the teacher for something. So in that way, they can be masters of their own environment. And there are obviously a lot of plans. Usually each student has their own plan that they take care of. And then also, the teacher needs to prepare themselves with knowledge. So when I went and got my Montessori training, even though I was only certified for ages 0 to 6, I actually learned to age 9 in the Montessori method so that in case kids were ahead, I would know exactly how to help them. And for sure, I used that all the time. I had preschoolers reading at a second grade level, and I was doing digraphs and teaching algebra in preschool. So it's kind of crazy. Anyways, so the teacher's main purpose is to plant seeds in the students so that they will blossom over a lifetime. And that's what's most important. It's not as important as the learning, actually, in Montessori. The number one thing is to light that fire of curiosity that is going to burn bright for their whole life. And Montessori thought that that was the most important thing because that would guide these children for their lifetime. And the quote that I like is, "The teacher's task is no small or easy one. He has to prepare a huge amount of knowledge to satisfy the child's mental hunger, and he is not like the ordinary teacher, limited by a syllabus. He has himself to acquire a reasonable acquaintance with every subject." So you try to be well versed before you bring up a topic of a study or before the school year even begins. You need to have that extra knowledge that a regular teacher does not have. And a lot of the times in Montessori in elementary, you'll have a lot of people have their doctorate or master's in certain areas, and they work together as a team so that everyone can really know a lot of in-depth knowledge on the fields. For math and language, math is beautiful, gorgeous, the most well thought out curriculum, I think, in the Montessori. world. And you can kind of see this girl she is preschooler, and she is working on a representation of an algebraic equation, which is a plus b plus c cubed. And it's just amazing that Maria made these works for preschoolers that also helped them in the future. So all of the work goes in an order, and you're able to learn like step by step, and things that you're like, wait, what? It just, everything flows into each other. It's so amazing. They also learn quantities, counting bead chains, all the way into the thousands. And the mathematical mind is satisfied through the work. Base 10 is taught from birth. So from birth, the kids are learning base 10. It's so crazy. I love it so much. For language, children already know how to read and write in Montessori at age 6. And so they're ready to learn grammar and syntax, noun, verb, adverb, and they relate language to other subjects. So all their reading books inside the classroom that are Montessori books are going to be actually teaching about something, not just saying like the hen, ran or whatever. It's going to be like teaching like frogs lay eggs and these eggs become tadpoles. So that's one of the other amazing things, is that all the work teaches something. And it's really important to have a good library that you rotate a lot, and you do not correct any of their spelling, because that just like kills it's just sad when you're like, oh, you wrote that sentence, but you spelled it wrong. So in Montessori, we never correct any spelling. And that's just an opportunity for us to know that we need to present that lesson again on those spelling rules. For fine art in the classroom, everything in the classroom is in a tray, held in a tray or set on the shelves beautifully. For visual art, there are color shading tablets that they start using when they're 2.5, and they go up and they're more and more complicated as they go on. There's also metal insets, which are different shapes. And Maria Montessori said that you should draw from nature, and that should be a huge, if not the main part of drawing, is drawing from nature. And also sewing was a huge part of the classroom. And today too, it's the same thing. All the kids are sewing. Kids in my classroom loved sewing. It was so cute. And then all the materials should be organized and isolated by using one specific technique. So watercolor tray should just have watercolor and a brush and watercolor paper for them to explore. So it's more about exploration. In music, this is one of the most underused Montessori material, mostly because there's not a lot of people that know music, and so a lot of teachers tend to shy away from it. There are specialized bells in the classroom that they're amazing. The kids playing on them, it's so amazing when they learn how to use it correctly. And they learn how to play songs on the bells. So that's the first music like that is introduced to the kids. Also, there's songs that go along with the curriculum that they're singing all the time. Music is a huge part of Montessori. We sing when we want the kids to come to circle. We sing when we're learning about certain subjects. Music is a huge part, and also performance. For drama and theater, usually this goes along with lessons. So acting out certain things, or using books. We use books a lot of the times to adapt stories. And in this book, they talked about turning any poems or anything that the kids write into drama and acting, and that's very free flowing. Here's my list of resources. All the photos I kind of just grabbed from online, and then I used Canva as my template. So I hope you enjoyed this book review and some of my own personal thoughts on it. Thanks.